Hi, in this video we're looking at Skill Builder 11.5 and Avogadro's Law. So up until this point we've looked at how volume is affected by pressure and also how volume is affected by the temperature of a gas. When we look at Avogadro's Law, we're looking at how molar amount affects volume. And what we see is the following. So first, just imagine that you have a balloon that's already partially inflated with gas. When you increase the number of molecules in the balloon by blowing into the balloon or exhaling your breath into the balloon, you are adding more gas particles. And when you add more gas particles, what happens to the balloon? So if N is the number of moles that are added, if you increase the number of moles in the balloon, what happens to the volume? Well, the volume increases. So the more molecules we add, the more volume increases. Now, if we were to inhale some of the gas from the balloon, so we are taking away some amount of gas molecules, the volume of the balloon is going to decrease. It's going to become smaller. So the relationship we have between volume and moles is a direct relationship, because as one increases, the other increases, and as one decreases, the other decreases. So this is a direct relationship, and we can use the formula of initial volume over initial mole is equal to the final volume over the final mole amount. And we can predict what's going to happen to our volume depending on whether our moles increase or decrease. So in this example, we have a chemical reaction occurring in a cylinder equipped with a movable piston, which the reaction produces 0.58 moles of gaseous product. If the cylinder contained 0.1 moles of gas before the reaction and had an initial volume of 2.1 liters, what's its volume after the reaction? I like to draw this out because sometimes it's hard to picture the before and afters of this cylinder with a piston. So I'm just going to put my cylinders here. So cylinder A is the before and cylinder B is the after. And we start off with this. So if the cylinder contains 0.11 moles of gas before the reaction, so here's my gas is in here, and we're going to say that, and there's the piston. So this is at 2.1 liters was the initial volume, and the amount of moles in here is 0.11 moles. Then what we do is we're going to add gas to this. So we're going to add some gas to it, and by a reaction that's occurring in. So you can imagine that there's gas in here, but a reaction is occurring, and through that reaction we create more gas. So we produce, along with this 0.11 moles of gas, we're going to produce an extra 0.58 moles of gas. So this reaction creates more gas, which means that if more gas is added, our volume is going to increase, and it increases to what amount? Okay? So a reaction is occurring. We started out with 0.11 moles of gas. We end up with 0.58 moles of gas product on top of the 0.11 moles that we already have. What's our new volume going to be? So let's set it up. We have volume 1 and mole 1 versus our final volume versus our mole amount. So V1 in this case is going to be our starting volume of 2.1 liters, and that's at 0.11 mole of gas that we start out with. We're looking for what our second volume is going to be when we produce 0.58 moles of gas. So we're going to use our relationship of V1 over N1 equals V2 over N2. So volume 1 is 2.1 liters, and we can just keep that as is because it's already in liters, over 0.11 moles. We don't know what V2 is, but we know that N2 is 0.58. That's how much gas is produced. So 0.11 moles is how much we started with. 0.58 is how much gas is produced by that reaction. And we're solving for V2. So I'm just going to keep this as V2. So we need to isolate the final volume. So that means we're going to bring 0.58 to the other side, and we're going to do that by doing the opposite operation, which in this case the opposite to dividing is multiplying. That cancels out that, leaving us with volume, but whatever we do to this side we also have to do to this side. So we're going to multiply 2.1 divided by 0.11 by 0.58, and that gives us 11.07 liters equals the final volume when we now have 0.58 moles. But you have to remember that we already have, or we started with 2.1 liters of gas, and now we're adding on to that another 11.07 liters of gas. So in terms of what the final amount is going to be, this final amount in the cylinder, we have to add these two together, because that 11.07 liters is for the extra 0.58 moles of new product. It's not the whole thing together. So what the volume is of all the gas in the cylinder together is going to be 11.07 liters plus 2.1 liters, which is equal to the final volume, which is 13.2 liters all together. So that's why it's important that I drew out my pistons to begin with, so that we could see how those added up to create that final volume. So that is Skill Builder 11.5. Thank you for watching.